Welcome to Charter's Local Edition. I'm Mark Staples, the host. This is a continuing interview series with Montana's governmental and legislative leaders. And one of our governmental leaders, the Superintendent of Public Instruction, is here with us today, elected to your second term, 2 years into it.
Yep.
Denise Juneau, originally from Browning. Mother was a state legislator. And you've got a lot of programs you're working on, and several that you brought to the legislature this year. You want to go into a couple?
Sure. So over the past 5 years, I've actually had an initiative called Graduation Matters Montana, which is really about raising the graduation rate and decreasing the dropout rate across the state, working with communities. So it's a community by community, school by school, teacher by teacher, student by student effort. We have 48 communities that are engaged with Graduation Matters. They bring their Main Street businesses to the table, they bring their nonprofit organizations, they bring all their stakeholders who are interested in supporting schools and students to the table, develop locally grown plans. We've been able to develop some great public-private partnerships across the state, bring in over $1 million in private funding.
For those who might not be familiar with this issue, I think we all think everybody graduates from high school. Not true.
Not
correct?
true.
What is the rate?
So it's been increasing as a result of Graduation Matters, and it's currently about a little over 85%. It's the first time it's ever reached over 85%.
What was it before graduation?
So we started tracking in 2000, and it was right around 80, and so it's increased over time over those past few years, which is really great news. It means more students are graduating from high school, being prepared for the next steps in their lives.
What are the key ingredients of the program that you think are creating this success?
Well, what I see from across the state and from these local Graduation Matters efforts is really just pulling stakeholders at the table, having good discussions around valid data and really being truthful about the data from the school district, and developing support systems for those students who may be at risk of dropping out. Peer mentoring programs, apprenticeship programs, bringing the business community into the school and letting students know this is what it means to be career ready. These are the types of skills you need to have. From discussions across the state with schools and with students, it's all about relationships. And if students have at least one caring adult in their life that support them in their efforts, they're going to make it
outside of the home or in?
It can be either. It can be a parent who's supportive, it can be a teacher, it can be a community member, and where those mentoring programs are in place and there's a supportive adult for that student, they usually make it through high school.
And tell me, I hear it, well, you got to get a diploma, that's the ticket to life. You spoke about data. Is there data that says if you don't get the diploma, life is going to be very difficult?
We know that if a student graduates with a high school diploma, their earning potential is hugely increased versus those who drop out of school. And then when they get a 2-year and a college diploma and they keep going through school, that earning potential continues to increase. The opposite of that is 75% of our correction systems are people who are not high school graduates.
Really?
Yes, and so the economic benefits both individually and to our economy of graduating from high school are huge.
What about the issue that we didn't used to pay attention to? It certainly existed when I was in high school, when you're in high school, but it's only come to the forefront of late. I don't know how, but I'm glad it's there. Bullying.
Yeah.
Bullying has been around forever. Why now are we more sensitive to it and more proactive to try to stop it?
Well, I think, there's a lot of issues around mental health now. That's been a big issue, and particularly with students in schools. We've seen an increase in youth suicide across the state. And
that comes across as so bizarre, but it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah, we have one of the highest rates of youth suicide in the country in our state.
And speaking of data, what do we think that's from? Why?
Well, I think
Why is
a lot
that
of
happening?
it is they may feel alone. I mean, I think everybody has a story, right? And so we talk about every dropout has a story, every youth who is going through some kind of crisis, they have a story, but a lot of that may lead back to bullying that's going on in school. And why it's such a big issue now is I think there are now tools available to bullies that weren't available back in the day, right? They have
social
smartphones,
media.
there's cyber bullying that goes on. They can walk around with something that's in their hand that, sort of infringes on them 24 hours a day, and I think that makes it a lot harder to deal with.
I'm also looking at, and this is one you have here, the dropout age. right now you have to stay in high school. You have to stay in school till you're 16.
Right.
And you're proposing to raise that to 19?
18.
18.
So my bill is to raise the legal dropout age from 16 to age 18 or upon graduation. So it allows for early graduates. There's also a lot of flexibility built in. They can be at the Youth Challenge program. They can be in an adult basic ed program. Homeschools are exempted. And so really it's about making sure students are in some sort of academic setting that allows them to leave that institution or that school with something in their hand that can lead to success. 65% of the students who drop out in this state are ages 16 or 17. I can walk into any high school classroom.
You're so close.
Any high school classroom in this state and ask when they can drop out, and they all know it's age 16. And so this bill really is about just raising that expectation. We should be expecting our students to graduate from high school at a minimum so that they can be successful, so our state can be economically successful. The last time that age was changed was 1921.
Oh my.
And so you can think about the global economy that we live in and the kinds of skills students need compared to then, and just imperative, I think, to raise that expectation that we should have that for every student across the state.
Well, you have a fascinating job in a fascinating sector of our whole society, and I congratulate you on your re-election. Very good. Best of luck for the rest of your term, and whatever you decide to do after that. That you have a lot of paths you could take, and I appreciate you taking the time to come up from your office and visit with us up here, and we hope to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning in.